It's Game On. Presented by Spectrum Sports.
And a very pleasant good evening from the Stan Sheriff Center in Manoa, where the second-ranked Rainbow Warriors are back in action on the Terraflix as they host the Cardinals of Stanford. And this is Game On, presented by Spectrum Sports for Rainbow Warrior Volleyball.
The competitor in me always says that we like to play games, and having this like 3-week break, it kind of sucks to have, because we want to play games. That's like, that's why we're here. But at the same time, it's kind of nice. You have a little bit of chunk of your season. You find some stuff you need to work on, and then you get a couple weeks of practice where you can go hard and work on that.
Hi, everybody, and welcome. Should be an exciting match. Hawaii at Stanford. I'm Scott Robbs, Lisa Strand. That is not Ryan Clay Suji, so you do not need to adjust your television. Yes, that is former All-American Libero Tuileta. Ryan is over on the side set with Kanoa tonight. Chris is out tonight and Sunday. We want to tell Chris we're thinking of him. I know he's back home taking in the match. So it should be a lot of fun. Hawaii, Stanford. It has been 20 days since the last time Hawaii played a competitive match that counted. However, last weekend, they had their annual alumni game where they had a lot of fun with friends and some fellowship.
Playing the Alumni was always a fun experience. Like, just seeing like all of our like old teammates like Mamane and Namahoe and Larry Tuileta come back and play against them is always like a treat. And I don't think we gained much like volleyball skill-wise, but we definitely gained like knowledge-wise.
It's cool to see, the alumni that were playing back in the 70s and kind of hearing their stories about, playing in Clum Gym and stuff like that. And then you got guys like Tui, who was just graduated last year. It's just good to see those guys again. So it's a really good mix, and it's a fun weekend.
Having the alum come back and just spending some time with them, is good for the guys to see. Some of them they know, some of them they don't.
All right, so a lot of fun had by all, including Tui, who was there last week. And for the first time, you were on the other side of the net. What was it like?
1 year out, and I finally get to play in the alumni match, and I had a lot of good fun. It was nice to see a lot of the old players that I used to watch growing up coming to the stand. We had Brian Beckwith, and then we had my old teammate, Mamane Namahoe, and we had a lot of good fun, and it's good to see all the camaraderie out there and the players that came before me.
Well, we're looking at some of the highlights from the other night over in the alumni game, and some of the plays that you made. Also got a chance to play your original position, the outside, huh? I bet that was fun.
It was a lot of good fun. The only thing that wasn't fun about it was probably my shoulder pain for the next few days. But other than that, it was a lot of fun.
And there was a lot of skills competition. I understand that you won the heaviest, hardest serve at 63 miles per hour. Other skills competitions included serving targets, Tom Pestalozzi coming out from a long time ago, as well as the players really mixing it up. Some of the current players going on to the alumni side to help make it a little bit more competitive.
When you were a player, was it kind of cool to meet some of the alumni and hear some of the stories as these guys did?
Yeah, it was great. Like how Lisa was saying, we had the skills match, and I think a lot of our alumni really surprised the players that are there now with the arm strength and with the serving speed and with the bounce competition. I know that was a lot of fun doing that one, but I think we all had shoulder pains after that match.
Just wait, you're still, 6 months out, a year out almost?
That's right, 6 months.
Yeah, 6 months.
Do you miss, though, when you come and you watch this team play now? Most of these guys that are on the floor were your teammate a year ago. Is it a little difficult, or how does
Absolutely.
it feel?
I miss the game 100%. I try to get in the gym whenever I can, but it's just completely different when you don't have the stand sheriff, you don't have the crowd that you're used to growing up with, and just the same guys, and even the coaching staff. It's a lot different.
Well, they took care of the alumni, or the alumni took care of them. It doesn't matter. Everybody had fun during that action. We're looking forward to a fun match tonight, Hawaii and Stanford, and the duel they'll be calling the action. Let's go hear from them. It's Kanoa and Ryan, guys.
That's right. Thanks, Scott. Next to Ryan Clay Suji, I'm Kanoa Leahy. Chris McLaughlin usually sitting in this seat, but it's his alma mater on the other side of the net. And he felt like he couldn't call this game with any sense of of objectivity, and so Chris stayed home. Just kidding. He's a little under the weather, the voice not right, so Chris, we're thinking about you, but Ryan filling in. Thanks for being here, Ryan. Let's talk a little bit about the time off for this Rainbow Warrior volleyball team. 20 days since they last played an official match. In fact, of all the top 15 teams in the country, they are the ones that have played the fewest matches. What do you make of the break?
You know, I talked to head coach Charlie Wade yesterday at practice. I asked him, does he think that this was an advantage or something that hurt his team? He said, we'll see. You know, I think for him, it was great for a great opportunity for the team to work on a few key elements, including hitting efficiency. I mean, this is a team that is hitting out of this world, and they're working on hitting efficiency. Can't believe they can get any better than that. They also worked on blocking and defense. So he said they had time to really fine-tune some of those areas. The question is that time off going to hurt them, having playing now against a very tough team in Stanford?
Well, and the other question here going into tonight is Dalton Solbrig kind of banged up his leg in that Alumni match, and so he didn't practice this week. He is a match time decision coming into today, questionable.
Yeah, had some quad spasms during that Alumni match, has not practiced, as you said, all week. Yesterday, working hard with trainer Renee Shigemura, trying to get that quad strength back. He's out there serving balls. They haven't gotten into the hitting lines yet, so we just don't know if he'll be playing. It'll be a big loss for Hawaii, no doubt, if he's not able to go.
Hawaii and Stanford, this has been a staple of intercollegiate volleyball, certainly going back to the MPSF days, although they didn't play for the first time in like 37 years last season, obviously with Hawaii going over to the Big West Conference, Stanford remaining in the MPSF, but they are back, and as always, Ryan, there is a strong Hawaii connection.
Yeah, a lot of Hawaii ties. Of course, it starts with Daniel Rosai on the coaching staff on the sideline. They also have Kyler Presho, who, of course, if that name sounds familiar, that's Mark Presho's son, as well as Jalen Jasper. He's going to be a player to watch, the son of Ivan Jasper, who is actually in the house, the former Rainbow Warrior football player himself. Jasper is going to be a physical force. A lot of Hawaii ties, they no doubt are excited to be here playing in Hawaii.
That's right. Ivan Jasper used to throw those sky-high passes at quarterback for the University of Hawaii. His son, Jalen, he jumps sky-high, touches over 12 feet, so it'll be interesting to see his explosiveness out there as just a sophomore on the floor for the Cardinal. All right, we'll see you at first serve. Let's send it back over to the corner crew.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys. When we come back, we're going to find out what these guys have been up to the last 3 weeks, not having a game. You want to hear it. Stick around. It's Game On. And we're back inside the Stan Sheriff Center. The Rainbow Warriors are back in action. Number 2 Hawaii taking on number 8 Stanford. Well, nearly 3 weeks since the last competitive match for Hawaii. So you're probably wondering, what have they been up to? Practice, practice, and more practice.
Recently, I know we've kind of covered a little bit more on covering the attacker and like positioning and be able to get the ball up. And just basically the other thing we're working on is just the overall like raising the intensity in practice. So we've been doing a split squad. So we'd go have like outside number one outside against number 2 outside, number 1 middle against number 2 middle. Just a lot of head-to-head stuff to bring up the intensity and the competitiveness in practice.
We've been working a lot on defense. That's been a big focal point for us. Because, you know, we got guys that can hit, we got guys that serve really well. Working on blocking and digging has been a really big focal point for us.
One of the hardest things is kind of in-system blocking, where you're one-on-one, where the other teams pass the ball well and they have full options, so you really get left alone. It's something that, you know, takes a long time. You don't see a lot of results statistically. You're not going to defend and score in those situations often. But for us, it's, you know, one thing to say, it's almost double points when you can block a one-on-one on this system ball on the outside. So something that we've continued to work on, and hopefully we see the progress on the floor.
Grab a seat, kick your legs up. Let's join the coaches' couch, brought to you by Bank of Hawaii. So you heard some of the players and the coach talking about what they've done the last couple of weeks in the practice gym. What are some of the things they need to work on? Because after the opening weekend, there were really no weaknesses to talk about.
Well, the weaknesses may not have been exploited, but you've got to believe that this team went back to the gym and is breaking down a lot of little things. You heard the players talking about it, as well as Coach Charlie Wade. The little things meaning the blocking and the defense, learning how to tool the block, scrambling, more consistency, and we all know that repetition is the key to any skill. So this team has went back, and believe me, they are chomping at the bit to play, because these are a bunch of gamers, and playing against each other does get old. But those little things, most teams don't get that much time. 3 weeks off to go back in the gym and and do breakdown is huge.
Is that an advantage, though, having all that time to work on things, having that big break?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was nice that they had a couple games going into the 2-week break and coming into Stanford, so it's easy to really pinpoint what they want to work on before they come in to the Stanford match. And I think Lisa hit the nail on the head with the repetitions, and I think the repetitions to the serving and the passing is going to be real crucial for this match, especially after a long break.
Pretty much everybody is back from a year ago on this team, but there is a new Libero after you graduated. It's Gage Worsley. You were his mentor. Talk about what he has done to improve his game from last year to this year and some of the things you've seen that he's capable of.
Oh, Gage is great. He could have played last year, absolutely. I mean, he played a lot last year, but I think with me leaving, I think he had to step up and, just start to take a lot of court, especially when we want Stein hitting, we want Rattle hitting, we want our middles in system. And I think Gage being, the quarterback of the back row and just taking as many balls as he can on serve receive from Stein and from the pin hitters so that they could be in system, find rhythm, and get through the match.
Well, we'll find out if practice makes perfect for the Rainbow Warriors in a bit as they take on the Cardinal of Stanford. When we come back, we'll talk about the matchup, but a reminder, connect with Spectrum Sports by liking our fan page on Facebook, Instagram, or via Twitter at Spec Sports High or hashtag Hawaii MVB. And we are back. Big-time men's college volleyball action. Hawaii taking on Stanford, a battle of top 10 programs. And here's the lowdown on the Cardinal.
Well, there's no question it'll be kind of a step up in competition for us that we're looking forward to. They're talented. They got good players all across the board. Setter does a really nice job for them. Their I'd say favorite attacker, the guy that's really stepped forward them is a guy with Hawaii ties, former quarterback Ivan Jasper. His son Jalen plays opposite for them and really talented, more I'd say closer to NBA kind of talent. Big, long, lean, big jump. So he's going to be a load to deal with. That will certainly take a team effort to slow a guy like that down. He can do a lot of different stuff with it. Also former middle blocker Mark Prescio, his son, is a starting middle blocker on the team too, and doing a really nice job. He's a junior national team guy, so they got experience and talent at virtually every position on the floor, and should be a fun couple matches.
Time to pick a number, brought to you by First Hawaiian Bank. Hawaii comes in 3-0 on the year, sweeps in all 3 matches. It's been a while. Stanford, very impressive 7-1 mark. So how far does this one go tonight? 3, 4, or 5?
2. Just joking. I'm going to say that this is going to go to 4. And the reason I'm going to say that is the Cardinal had a huge upset over UC Irvine, if you want to call it an upset, who was ranked number 2 at the time. And this team was plagued with injuries last year, but I think they're coming in strong. And Hawaii has had a little bit of a break. So I'm going to go with 4 games tonight.
Tui?
I'm going to have to go with 3 sets. I think the guys are really hungry. They've been waiting 2 to 3 weeks already, and I know a lot of them just want to get out and play. I'm going to say, because of the long break, a slow start, but I'm going to stick with 3.
This is a much improved Stanford team than they've been the last couple of years. In fact, last year they only won 6 matches, so they've already bested their record from a season ago in terms of win total in 8 matches. That's pretty impressive.
It's very impressive. They were plagued by injuries last year, but head coach John Costi, in his 13th year, 29 years in the program, says that he's got a lot of experience on this squad, and they are very hungry, they're healthy, and they're ready to go.
All right, let's take a look at the stat leaders for the University of Hawaii heading into this big non-conference showdown, of course, led by Stein von Tilburg.
Well, Stein von Tilburg has just had a stellar start to this year, as well as Rado has done a great job. And again, there you see him. You can't miss him, Joe Worsley, who's led his team to an incredible hitting average.
Best volleyball player in the country, Joe Worsley. He may not be the biggest, but for what he does, I think he's probably the best, or at least one of the best. Let's take a look at the Cardinal, and you'll see a couple of last names that are familiar, led by Jalen Jasper, the #1 high school recruit 2 years ago.
And Kyler Prescio, who is Mark Preccio's son, 6'7" middle blocker, and as well as Jordan Everett, a 6'4" outside hitter. This team also has had 4 players on the Big West, or all tournament, not all highlight NPSF weekly honors, and they have done a really good job this year. Again, very consistent, a completely different team than last year.
So you said you think Hawaii will come out hungry and they'll win in 3, but any concern that the layoff against a high-quality opponent will affect them at least early on?
I think usually when you come off a long break like this, especially for the really good teams, the slow start really comes from the serving and the passing. So I think serve receive will be key, especially beginning the match, and I think that'll guide them hopefully towards a 3-set win.
What does Hawaii need to do well tonight to win?
Well, we talk about slow starts, but it would be nice with this team, as much practice as they've had, to get a good start. There's a good crowd coming in. I think it starts, again, back to serving and passing, but all those little things, the defense, their block, covering their hitters. Stanford is a very big team. They have a big block. I think they're going to match up well tonight.
Any concern if Dalton Solbrig is unable to play in tonight's match? Kanoa mentioned a bit of a leg problem after the Alumni game.
I think knowing Dalton that he'll for sure want to play in this game and he's going to do whatever he can. But like I said, it's going to be a game-time decision, so I hope he pulls through and plays for the people.
And, you know, one thing with this Hawaii team, and we saw it during those first 3 matches, they have a lot of depth. I mean, Charlie used a lot of players, and you did not see a very big drop-off in terms of talent from the top players to the reserves. Should be a great one. The 3 of us will be back at intermission, but coming up next, the first serve with Kanoa and Ryan. Hawaii taking on the Cardinal of Stanford. Take a look at highlights Hawaii Stanford. We start off with the 2-time All-American Stein Von Tilburg flying over from the left side. Von Tilburg with 11 kills on the night for Hawaii. He also added 3 blocks right there from behind the 3-meter line, putting it down on the Terraflex. Joe Worsley, the man that makes the engine go, again made it go well tonight. Hawaii hit 364 behind Worsley. He had 5 kills, 41 assists, and he even added 8 digs as Hawaii once again looked terrific on offense behind Joe Worsley. And the big attacker for the Bulls tonight, Rado Parapunov. 17 kills to lead the match, hit 375. He had 4 blocks, 6 digs, many of those kills, very meaningful ones throughout the evening for the University of Hawaii. As you take a look right here at the overpass put down by Rado, who says no, no, no. And Hawaii says yes, 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 with a 3-set victory over the Cardinal of Stanford.
This is the post-game show on Spectrum Sports.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for sticking around. It is the post-game show. Scott, Lisa, and Dewey as Hawaii wins it in 3 over the Cardinal of Stanford. The first set, very one-sided towards Hawaii. Definitely got pushed in the second and a bit in the third, which I think is probably something that Charlie Wade wanted to see.
Well, definitely. You want the challenge, and Hawaii really came out tonight pushing hard, and they were challenged. You got to remember this Stanford Cardinal team did take down UC Irvine when they were ranked number 2. A lot of talent on this team, but they struggled a little bit tonight offensively.
Yeah, I think Stanford in the first set got a little bit of the pregame jitters, and I think in the second set they were able to come back and find the rhythm a little more. But I think tonight UH was just 2-inch system, and they were able to get everyone going in the pins from the middle, pretty much from everywhere on the court. It's hard to stop everything at once it's going.
You know, the opening weekend where they won all 3 matches, the thing that impressed me more than the offense, which was very good, was how well they played defensively. And I was wondering, just kind of curious to see how that would carry over to tonight. I thought the defense was terrific once again.
Well, Hawaii's defense, they talked about it earlier, is that they've spent this last 20 days not playing volleyball, working on their defense, working on their blocking schemes, one-on-one, working on digging, working on coming up balls off of tooled hits, things like that. Definitely defense, as they always say, wins games. Tonight, Hawaii with 8 blocks, 8.5 blocks, doing a nice job.
It's good to see guys like Stein Von Tilburg, like Rattle, especially guys that don't really focus too much on the defensive side. I guess they're more offensive oriented. It's nice to have guys like that pick up balls for everyone else to transition and get the point. And you see Gage Worsley jumping around there. I mean, the guy's like a gymnast rolling around the ground, getting balls with one hand and whatnot, and it's fun to watch.
Well, let's take a look now at the final numbers. They're brought to you by Levitt, Yamani, and Solner. As you see, Gage Worsley right there celebrating the victory. Hawaii winning it in 3 over Stanford, and they hit 364 to 256. What other numbers stand out to you guys?
Well, I think definitely the hitting percentage, but the other thing is obviously the kills and their digs. I mean, Stanford had some great digs as well, but Hawaii with 33 digs and only 3 games played tonight. That's a lot of digs.
So wait, what do you think? Do you think the biggest difference between the two teams tonight was consistency? Because we saw at times the Cardinal put some stretches together where they looked very good, but they couldn't sustain it where Hawaii was able throughout the night.
Right, I think the University of Hawaii was able to kind of keep their streaks going a little longer, especially towards the end of the match. They started serving really tough, and it was hard for the Cardinals to transition and kind of get in rhythm to keep up with the high-octane team. So it's hard to go up against UH when all the pins are going, and Joe is just feeling it out there, and it's hard to stop.
What's it like to be a passer against a serving team like the University of Hawaii? Because that has become one of their strengths. They're serving. They had 4 aces tonight, but they forced a lot of overpasses and bad receives as well.
What's it like? Are you asking me or are you asking Tui?
Well, I know you know. Tui knows firsthand, of course.
Yeah, I mean, going against a strong serving team, especially with Rattle, it's lefty, and you have Stein, a right-handed server. You got Joe that has a low toss. I mean, they're just really good at mixing up their serves, and it's hard to find a rhythm when every server is so different. It's not like you have a high tossing jump serve every single rotation. It's going to be, you got Joe with the low toss, can switch to a float serve, jump serve. You have Rattle from the opposite side of the court, putting a nasty curve on the ball that can come to either your left or right in the seam. It's hard to make a move. And you just have so much variety from the service line on our team, and it's hard to receive balls like that.
Well, Hawaii improves to 4-0 here in the young season. All wins by sweeps. We'll take a break, come back, and have more from the corner.
Welcome back to the post-game show on Spectrum Sports.
Well, very successful evening back on the Terraflex, even though it's being picked up for basketball tomorrow night. As Hawaii, after 20 days off, wins in 3 over number 8 Stanford, 25-15, 27-25, 25-22 to improve to 4-0 on the year. And part of the reason Hawaii remains unbeaten is because of the man all the way on my far left, Gage Worsley, with 11 digs tonight to lead Hawaii in that category. And many of those were of the spectacular variety. Tui said during the game that you learned all that from him.
Oh, absolutely. Tui on the other side, I felt his presence in my mind, and I was like, what would Tui do? You know, what would Tui think right now? And half of those digs, like I was telling you guys, I didn't see them. I closed my eyes. I remember one time the middle hit at me, and I closed my eyes, and I saw it from peripheral vision, so I just swung up, and it went up. So sometimes you get lucky.
Sometimes it's good to be lucky, right?
Oh, yeah.
But you're such a fiery guy out there. You bring so much emotion. You play at a 10 constantly. Has that always been how you've played?
Yeah, for sure. I've always been the energetic guy, whether it be in class, which my teachers aren't fans of, and sometimes my parents aren't fans of. Got me in some trouble sometimes when I was younger, but I've always kind of been in charge of energy, which sometimes it's really not hard to harness it, really. But yeah.
Tell us a little bit about this time off that you guys had. They talked about working on defense. Does that mean that you had like Rado and Stein hitting one-on-one with no block and you closing your eyes and digging balls?
Basically, yeah. My main motto for defense, this is for any liberos or any out there, is basically get hit by the ball. You're really not digging. I remember in Japan, half the digs I had, I didn't really see them, or I felt them, but I didn't really see them. But for sure, every day in practice, we go one-on-one blocking for at least 15 minutes. And we transition then to three-man blocking, but then, yeah, every day, just basically one-on-one defense. And in practice, we have this new rule where if it touches the ground without anyone touching it, there's 2 points for the other team.
All right, so we got a great libero, pretty much a gymnast on the floor, making some ridiculous digs. High energy. I've heard you had this thing called the Libero diet.
Yes, I do. It was taught to me by the great Larry Tuileta next to me here. Okay. Basically, game day or leading up to game day, you got to make sure. I remember we were on the road. We go to Denny's. That includes a milkshake, a double cheeseburger, basically to keep yourself grounded as a libero, because a lot of it's a tumbling. It's like you said, gymnastics, right?
Absolutely.
So you got to stay grounded. And in order to do that, that includes chicken katsu, late night Taco Bell, Big Macs, you name it. Just try and stay grounded and low to the floor and just move really well.
Absolutely. There's a lot of liberos out there that don't know that, but I
Libero
think
tip.
my protege here really invested himself in the Libero diet, and look where he is now. This guy's ridiculous.
I've been on that Libero
about him.
diet for about 30 years. Look at me.
You're doing it right then.
You're great.
You would make a fantastic Libero.
I would be the best in the country.
I'm trying to teach Shuey. Actually, I don't know if he's gonna be playing Libero next year because he's a fantastic setter. He just kind of filled in the role. Shuey, our backup Libero, is absolutely a stud. I'm trying to teach him the ways, but he's a little healthier, as I say, so he won't fully buy in. He won't buy in fully, but I'll break him.
It's hard to be invested. It's hard to be invested in something really hard to do.
Yeah. We feed the soul, not the body, as we like to say. Yeah.
Precisely.
I don't know how to top any of this. This is like a stand-up routine over here.
It always is with Gage.
But you know what, though? That's how you guys play. Like, you're having so much fun out there that you're enjoying it, that it's a game. I mean, you guys are having fun.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I remember at the beginning of the year, my parents, they would always, basically in the middle of the year, we'd have 6 a.m. practices for preseason. And I wasn't as energetic, and I wasn't enjoying it as much, but I was like stiff, and I was like, because I knew a lot of pressure was on me, because this guy last year was an absolute stud, and still is an absolute stud, always has been. So I knew I kind of had to fill in that role some way, and I just wasn't kind of relaxed and enjoying myself. And then my parents over Thanksgiving break, they're like, you gotta tense up. So I was like, all right, time to chill out a little. Shout out to my parents, they're on screen right now. I love you guys.
Well, you know what?
Roger and Christine Worsley there flew in for the weekend to watch their boys.
And they can't come on Sunday. They leave because they have a tournament. They leave tomorrow and kind of in the afternoon. And but I love them, and I wouldn't be here without them. So peace and love to you guys.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some fast food windows still open. So we'll
absolutely.
let you go so you can go get whatever your Libero body diet needs.
Yeah,
I got a 99-cent taco coupon that flew from the blimp.
I might have
got
to
one for
snag
you,
that
specifically for you.
Perfect. I know all the fast food closing times, so I got that down by memory right here.
By the way, Tui really did catch a free 2 tacos
actually right
from
here,
Jack in the Box. So you know where
it's
he'll
called
be going
Libero.
afterward, pal.
That's called Libero.
It's right here. This is for you.
Oh, thank you.
So
thank
he's
you.
paying it
99
forward
cents.
right now. He's paying it forward.
Every penny counts. Just make sure you take care of that. Don't lose it.
I will. This is gold right here in my pocket now.
All right, I guarantee you we're going to have Gage Worsley on again. How can we not? As he helps Hawaii defeat Stanford in 3. We'll take a break, come back, have some thoughts, and look forward to Sunday's matchup.
Welcome back to the post-game show on Spectrum Sports.
Back at the Stand Sheriff Center, there you see Hawaii wins in 3 over the Cardinal of Stanford. So what's coming up next, you ask, for the University of Hawaii? How about a rematch on Sunday, 6 o'clock first serve, and then Hawaii will head out all the way to the East Coast. They're going to Charlotte, North Carolina for a tournament. They'll play Queens a couple of times, as well as St. Francis, before coming home to take on Lincoln Memorial. And so you would have to think, looking at that lineup, Sunday will be the toughest opponent they'll face in a few more weeks, or at least in a few weeks.
Absolutely, and this year's schedule is just a little different. I mean, they opened kind of strong. They've swept every team they've played so far. Then they got 20 days off. Stanford rolls in ranked at number 8. They sweep them. They play them again, and then they head all the way to the Carolinas. And Tui was just talking about their trip last year when they headed to the freezing cold United States of America.
Yeah, Nashville, Tennessee.
And
yeah, it was way too cold over there. But I mean, it'll be good, especially since the road schedule for the team is extremely difficult. They have UC Irvine at home. They have BYU at home, which is always fun, always crowded, always loud.
They have to go to Long Beach State as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Are they playing in the tournament at BYU this year also? So they're definitely playing some of the heavy hitters. But because of now only having a handful of teams in the Big West, it's not like back in the MPSF where you had the opening tournament and then it was conference play the rest of the season. You got to fill a lot of pukas. And so I think Charlie's smartly trying to work the RPI, playing teams out of the Conference Carolina, which is a relatively new conference, playing a team out of EIVA, playing MPSF, and some of the other teams as well to try to boost up their RPI so they don't fall into the same situation as what happened last year.
Yeah, so it's good for them to just keep playing and going on the road, and just especially if they can get in some of the guys from their bench into the match. I think that'll be good, especially, you never know who you're going to need down the road. And I know we threw in Gage a lot, last year coming into our really important matches, and we had a lot of our guys come in and serve and contribute a lot.
By the way, St. Francis, I was just told, beat Ohio State in 5. So St. Francis, not the same school that's up the street in Kaimuki. This one's over on the East Coast. They're pretty good.
well, the thing is that you can never underestimate underestimate your opponent, and also talking about playing here at home in the Stan Sheriff, there's just a huge advantage. And when you go on the road, Hawaii's teams have notably struggled a little bit in the past. Tui was sharing with me how it is. It's hard to go when you don't have the whole support system with you, so you have to mentally be a little bit tougher, a little stronger, and stay very focused on playing well and your goals.
Well, I thought Hawaii was focused tonight. They did well. We'll see what happens come Sunday. The rematch, 6 o'clock, 5:30. It begins with Game On. Tui, outstanding job. You did so well. We'll bring you back Sunday. How's that?
That sounds good to me.
All right, I'm sure it sounds good to everybody. Special thanks to our outstanding Spectrum Sports crew. For Tui, for Lisa, I'm Scott. Until next time, we bid you aloha and a good evening from the Stan Sheriff Center in Hanoi.